Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Karen Sliwinski and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Northeast Ohio. So here's the card that we are going to be making today. I like to call this video double duty die cuts. I'm going to show you some really fun cards after we make this one together. I thank you so much for watching and I hope that you're a subscriber to my channel, and if not, please do consider subscribing. It helps me to grow my business. Also, if you would like to share this video with your friends who might be interested, I would greatly appreciate that. And if you need any of the supplies needed to make this card or anything else, I have the links in the video comments below. So I'm going to turn the camera around and we're going to get started. All right, to make this card, these are our basic supplies. I have my card base, which is crumb cake. So this is 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to fold that in half. Then we are going to need a piece of soft suede. This is 3 1/8 by 4 3/8. A piece of basic white, which is going to layer here. This happens to be 2 3/4 by 4. Then you also need a piece of basic white, big enough so that you can cut out this leaf. So if you have a piece that's about 3 by 2.5, that should be good. And then for our sentiment, I have a 3/4 inch strip. It's going to be cut down after we do our sentiment. And then a little piece of, this is a scrap of soft suede that's just a little bit bigger. So we're going to use that. And then we have some little things to decorate it with. So we're going to get started. The stamp sets I'm using today are the Gorgeous Leaves. And this doesn't have any sentiment. So for my sentiment, I'm choosing the Flowers of Friendship. And this is a bundle. I'm going to show you that. So these are the dies, and this is the leaf that I'm using today. I've already cut that out to save some time. And then our color palette today is soft suede, and then for the leaf, pumpkin pie, poppy parade, and Cajun craze. So we are going to get started, and we are going to take our white piece, and we are just going to put our leaf right there in the middle. And then I have some blending brushes. So I'm going to start out with my pumpkin pie. So I'm going to move these other pieces out of the way and just bring in a scrap piece of paper. And so we're going to hold our leaf, and actually what I'm going to do is open up my other inks so they're ready for me. Okay. And I'm going to hold this in place, and I'm going to get pumpkin pie, and then I'm going to put off a little bit of that first little bit, and I'm going to hold this in place while I swirl the color around. Get off the extra bit. And you're going to want to get some of that as sort of like a glow around your die cut. I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to move that one out of the way. And I'm going to switch to my Poppy Parade. So you want to just make sure that you're holding that in place. And we're going to add some of that down here. And blending it a little bit with our pumpkin pie. Okay, and then I'm going to move my fingers around, and now I'm going to grab some of this Cajun craze. There, I don't want that too bright. Move that. Got to be careful to hold it in place. You're probably going to get ink on your fingers, and that's okay. And there, I've got a beautiful blend. I'm going to close these up so I don't get anything ink where I don't want it to be. And then this is what we have, that beautiful leaf that has been used as a stencil. And then we're also going to position it right on top, just a little bit of an angle. So I am going to get a little bit of my glue. I'm going to actually get these blending brushes out of the way. And so I'm just going to put a tiny bit of glue on some of these bigger spots here in the leaf to hold it down. And I'm going to position that offset This is the way I did my original one. So I'm going to put it just like so and hold that down. And it's not, I didn't put glue at these outer tips, so it gives it a little bit of lift. That looks great. So then on my soft suede piece, I'm gonna put my scrap paper down. We are gonna use these dots and just go around the edges of this to give it a nice little texture. And you just have to go around the outside because our white piece is going to cover up the middle. I love using texture stamps. So often they're overlooked and we don't know what to do with them. But once you start playing with them and seeing what they can do, it just adds so much more interest to your card. And I love them. So I think that looks fabulous. I'm going to set this aside. And now we are ready to mount this to our soft suede. And this gives it, it's got about 1/4 of an inch background, so you really do see those dots, and they look really nice. So then we are going to take our card base. I'm going to go ahead and fold that. Here's my bone folder. Okay. And then we can go ahead and pop this up. So grab my dimensionals. And I'm going to think I'll put one more in the middle. All right. I hear some cheering in the background. I think there is a wedding going on across the river. They were getting set up for it earlier. So that is my guess of what is all the cheering is about. So we're going to just center that in the front of our card. Okay, now we are ready to do our sentiment. So I'm going to grab this, and I have the thank you for everything. So hopefully I can get this centered nicely. When I do my sentiment strips, I like to have a strip rather than trying to exactly guess how big this needs to be. Oh, see, and the reason is perfect example is that's just a little bit crooked, so I'm going to turn this over and see if I can get this to line up a little bit better. Yes, that looks better. Okay, close this up. Now all we have to do is trim this down. And again, for using a strip, you can trim it to however you want. It doesn't have to be measured. And then you can just make your piece that we're going to mat this on just a little bit bigger once we layer this. So I do that a lot when I'm doing my layers. I don't necessarily like to measure them out to be exact. I like to eyeball them. Sometimes I'm using up scraps of paper, and so it may be an odd size, and then I'll just be more efficient that way instead of cutting a brand new piece. And then I'm just going to trim that. Actually needs a little bit more. And there, that looks great. So get those out of the way. Let's add a couple more sentiments to this. Or sentiments. Oh my goodness. Oh, those are dimensionals. Sometimes when you are filming, your brain just kind of goes out the window. And so we are just going to put this right about there. And isn't that beautiful? So we've done double duty with our die cut. We have it used as a stencil and then also as a design element. So I think just to finish off this card, it looks pretty if we stamp a leaf in the corner. So it'll leave you lots of room for, let me make sure I think I might need to add a little bit more ink to my pad. But it leaves you plenty of room for writing your thank you message. Okay. And then we might as well do our envelope. I'm gonna just clean off this, and then I think the envelope we're going to use the same leaf, but we're going to stamp it in pumpkin pie. And we're just going to stamp that right here in the corner. Okay. Close these up. And I think the final touch is to add some of these sequins. So these sequins are from the Artistry Blooms. There's 4 different colors of sequins in here. I have pulled out the fall colored ones. There is also one that is a pale blue, but I thought these were like the perfect colors for this card. So I'm just going to add my sequins. I'm gonna add a big one. I'm using my take your pick tool. Look at how the ink on my finger. And then this one here also, I will do a larger one. We're gonna stick that there. So there you have our beautiful card and coordinating envelope. So now I want to show you some other cards that I have made. So this first set, and actually there are 2 cards, I used the Frosted Gingerbread Bundle, and I used the Whimsy and Wonder Designer Series paper, and then this is the Polished Pink. So here are the 2 cards. So I took my Belle die cut, and I used my blending brushes, and I put on the Polished Pink onto my label, and then I stamped my greeting, and then I was able to do a second label using that die cut. So now I've gotten 2 cards, and then I've just used the paper in a little bit different arrangements. This happened to be a scrap, so I had done some cards where I'd used this 4-inch by 5¼ panel, and this was what was left. So I cut it at a diagonal, and then I put it on my pink base. So there is the inside. It's the same for both. So this is truly a double duty card where you've gotten 2 cards with 1 die cut. All right, the next card is using the Merry Snowflakes bundle. So here I have used some of those dies as my background here. It just gives them a beautiful texture. And then I did 3 snowflake dies, and here you can see where I have placed them on this panel. And I've used Balmy Blue, Misty Moonlight, and Night of Navy to just sponge around those, or I should say blending brush. So used to using sponges, but they're blending brushes. And then I took those die cuts and I put them over here, and then I used the Season's Greeting on both of these cards. So again, they're very similar layout. There's what the inside of this one looks like. And then this one, I trimmed it in half, and then I embossed this panel and made that what the inside of that card looks like. So those are, again, double duty. And then my last card is using the artistic dies and the Sunny Sentiments. So here is the one that I used my blending brushes, and I just used a rainbow of colors. Now I must say that this was a little bit harder because this one wanted to move so much. So if you had a repositionable adhesive, that might be nice to use, because then it would hold this kind of flimsy die cut in place. But I managed to do it, and then I did this one exactly the same, and I used the Stays On black ink for this one to make it really intense. Matted them both in black, but this one I put on a yellow card base because it didn't have quite as much color as this one. And then this one here is the Get Well Soon, a message for the inside. So there you have double duty die cuts where you can really stretch your card making with 1 die cut, making, in most of these cases, we made 2 cards. So I'm going to spread those out for you to see. And there's the one, and then this is the one that we made today. So I really hope that you like this. You can get more details at my blog, which is ThePowerOfACard.blogspot.com. I'll have all the measurements there. I also put the measurements in the video, as you can see. If you have any questions or would like more information, please contact me. I would love to be your demonstrator and help you with any of your card making needs. Thanks so much for watching.